Welcome to Quips and Crits, another 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast. In today's show, you will hear variant rules such as honor and madness checks, playable NPCs, proficiency dice, and brutal critical fails. Our talented cast of players are Sarah playing Tribute to the Tiefling Paladin.
I don't know what color Tribute blush is because she's already pink. That was definitely happening when she left Saywood's office.
Katie playing Talos, the half-orc cleric.
Talos is actually kind of afraid of ghosts. Thank God he's a cleric and can turn undead.
Ransford playing Breeze, the Tabaxi Bard.
You went for a swim?
Yes.
How'd it go?
That's not the point.
I'm sorry.
Alex playing Nikos, the Eladrin Warlock.
Brace myself a bit, and I just lean over and I just let it go out. It's just like, ugh. I'm gonna have to do that again sometime.
Emily playing Cass, the half-elf fighter.
Well, since I have heroism, I feel like I'm not really thinking about beating a child.
And Courtney playing Adella, the Water Genasi Druid.
Don't quite care, I guess. I'm Adella.
I'm Dan the DM.
That was just straight rum. I mean, I enjoy it, but I was not prepared for that to just be a mouthful of rum.
Let's get back to the game.
Having just left the huddle in the middle of the Jade Reef, by the tower in the center of town, both Adella and Nikos are leaving off to go to the library to do a little bit of research on finding a new arcane focus and trying to dig up maybe some lost history on the Jade Palace.
Can I buy shoes first?
Yep. and there is a definite need to buy shoes.
Yep.
As you may figure that no reasonable establishment would let you in barefoot.
Yep.
Especially not a city library.
Especially not a library, no.
As you go walking through that area, you mean to go to the library, which is one of those two smaller buildings tucked back by one of the larger towers that leads into the Jade Palace. Mm-hmm. And as you go walking along, you find in that back corner near where that gate that leads out, there's a small market in that area.
All right.
And as you're walking around the market, there's plenty of food, wines. There's actually just small segments of glass that you could buy, like almost artistic pieces that are stained glassed that clearly didn't make it into a full piece, but they're still trying to sell as just kind of something to show in a house. So as you're walking along the small market, you're able to see quite a few people selling clothes.
All right.
There's a local flavor to it that they do have more color. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of either match or contrast the jungle that the Jade Reef is surrounded, or to just kind of pop against the motif of jade that seems to be laid across everywhere. But as you're kind of walking around a little closer to the tower, shopping for shoes, you see that there's just a small cart. There's no donkey on the end of it, and it looks like rotted wood. It's boxed into the top so that there's just kind of a small slit in the middle. You see that there's like old-fashioned rugs just kind of hanging off the side. It's tucked back a little bit, so even as the sun is beginning to set, it casts a shadow. And where this janky wooden stand is in the shadow against the wall. And you're not drawn to this in any specific way, but there's a innateness to the two of you, of the things you've seen and the things you've done, that's just kind of drawn your eye to acknowledge that it is there. Though no one seems to beckon you or point you in that direction. Otherwise, it seems to be a fairly simple market.
All right. Nikos is going to look around, pat himself down, then realize he doesn't have any money. All his money disappeared and turned into leaves.
You look over at Adella.
Yep. Can I borrow some money?
I suppose. I don't quite have anything I'd need to buy, so.
All right. Thank you.
Go shopping with you.
Yeah. I'll look around and see if I can find anybody selling like boots and maybe also a nice cloak of some sort.
You find quite a few people, and you really have a good selection here. The kind of footwear you're balanced between is there's common footwear, which is just going to be kind of a soft padded shoe. And there's a much higher end one that has more of a sole on the bottom, something to kind of elevate you up off the ground a little bit. And they're more garish. They're a lot brighter in color.
What about, like, traveler's boots?
Traveler's boots is another option. Traveler's boots are still going to be made of leather. They'll be thinner, and they ride a little bit higher up on your leg, but there's no chance these things are going to fall off.
All right. I think I'm going to go for the traveler's boots.
Okay. As you walk up, someone is happy to greet you. They size up your feet for you. You do catch a couple wayward glances.
I am not exactly like the other elves.
No, there's definitely an oddity that is you. Would you say, just out of curiosity, would you say that Nikos has small feet? Or do you think he has, like, smaller feet or, like, maybe bigger feet?
I think they're kind of proportionate to him. I mean, if I go off by what the drawing was, they're a bit small, but, like...
So you're able to get equipped with some boots. Some mid-level traveler's boots. It'll probably cost you, like, 5 silver pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no big deal. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to look for a cloak. I missed my leaf cloak. I wasn't able to get enough leaves together to make a new one.
Okay.
I'd have to wait till autumn, and then they'd all rot away anyway.
And autumn isn't a huge thing on this particular island.
Yeah, no, it's a tropical area.
You get some palm branches. You cloak on some palm branches.
This is not a bad idea, but also not the greatest.
Aaron was doing that when you met Linus and Aaron.
Yeah.
Tying the prawns together and made umbrellas.
I'm gonna... Yeah, so I'm just gonna look for a cloak in a vibrant color, preferably orange or red.
Okay. You're able to find it.
Alright.
Now, again, there's not, like, peasant cloaks. There's businessmen cloaks. So pretty much it goes from, like, you can get just, like, a regular businessman cloak, and the scale here goes businessman to magician.
Businessman to
To
magician.
magician, like, a businessman's cloak is just kind of made to keep the water off your back. It kind of pulls around your side a little bit to hold papers. Magicians can go all the way around. There's snaps on the inside, so you can make it shorter or longer as you need it. They're always colored. They're always a bit sparkly.
The magician's cloak sounds really nice, but the businessman's cloak sounds a bit more practical. Alright, I think I would like a businessman's cloak if they can get it in a nice red.
You're able to find something like that.
Alright, cool. Yeah. Okay, I feel better about my appearance. I can go into the library now.
Adella, as you're walking around the market, do any of these clothes kind of jump out at you? There's definitely a lot of people who play to the motif of the city. So there's a lot of sea foam greens. There's a lot of jade greens, nice ocean blues. There's kind of like sponges, sea sponges.
You must not close the screen all the way.
Yeah. Sea sponges and corals kind of hanging, being sold as kind of just tourist traps.
No. I mean, I don't think Adele really wears much clothes. She just naturally has.
There's just the clothes she kind of spawns with.
Yeah, exactly. Being water.
Her default outfit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a whole lot of customization options yet. You have to
I
pay
can
extra
customize
for...
my hair, alright?
Yeah, you can pay
I
extra
changed
for...
my hair color.
You can pay extra for those skins.
Adella is some sort of watery woolly willy. Is just adjust her hair.
Yeah. Dip my hair in something and it changes colors.
Now, is there interest in buying scrolls or potions?
No. Yeah, no, Adele's not much of a shopper. She doesn't really need a lot of material things.
Nope.
Not a material girl.
But still,
now that's in my head.
But still in the material world.
Yes.
There we go. So as you're wrapping up your shopping for the evening, the sun's beginning to set a bit quicker and quicker, and you're certain that it will be night here in the next probably hour or so. So you quickly make your way to the library as you suspect that it might close by then. And when you arrive, you find this, again, large, massive building. This one seems to be not as old as maybe the palace which you had seen before Adella, but the architecture is similar. And the stone it's made out of looks to be the same. You do see at the very top of it there is an emblem of the two waves crashing together. This seems to be dedicated building to Umberly. But as you kind of walk into this foyer, you see that the only person sitting in this small waiting area is Listel.
All right. I'm going to walk up to Listel and say hello.
Ah, Nikos. It's nice to see you. Here for a little bit of recreational reading.
No, actually, I've got a mission. You may have noticed that I lost literally everything I ever owned.
A bit of bad luck. I didn't want to say anything.
I need an arcane focus, and I need to do some research, specifically about tying an artifact to a unicorn.
Well, there's great mention of unicorn in the stories that I have read. Of course, in a world of magic and nightmares, fiction is just one simple conversation from nonfiction. So I can tell you you're not facing down an impossible task. One I'm sure will be certainly easy for a man like you. Adella, what are you doing here? I never took you for a reader.
I've come to find the history of the Jade Reef. And the palace. You know, the big palace that's over there?
Yes.
They offer awful tours.
Really? They have tours?
They're awful.
Well...
Tour guide knows nothing.
Oh, then perhaps I'll skip it. A tour sounds exciting, but if it isn't any good, nothing is worse than feeling like you're not learning everything there is to learn.
They have a broken trident that looks like mine, and she has no clue what the thing is. It's an awful tour.
Exactly like yours.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds important to you.
Come to find out more about it.
Maybe if you were to go on another day, there might be another tour guide?
I doubt any of those idiots know anything.
Say, what time did it look like it was outside?
The sun was setting.
Oh, fantastic. I've been waiting to get in. I was told that the library would be availed to me for the last half hour of the day. So I've been waiting very patiently. I'm very excited.
But what do you mean just for the last half hour?
I had gotten here much earlier, and when I had went to speak with one of the women at front, I was politely told that the library would be temporarily restricted to me until perhaps the final closing hours of the day.
Why?
There's an understanding that I have. People don't like to see tieflings reading books. The idea that we're all demon spawns and evil is prevalent for many people. Respectfully, Nikos, elves believe this. So, in a library, turning a corner and a tiefling standing right there would certainly scare anyone with softer sensibilities. So, I was told, however, through what I like to think is personal charm, that I would be allowed in the last half hour to find whichever books I should like.
Okay. This is just something you have accepted?
Yes. In Wylanthir, the elven capital, I am a distinguished librarian. Unfortunately, all of my credentials got washed away in my trip here. But growing up there, from a young man, I've accepted the elves are very slow to learn, much slower to accept. But with time, I'm able to kind of charm my way in, I guess. The library is where I'm most comfortable.
It's still unfair that you only get here to be here for about half an hour.
Well, in these situations, I'm thankful for what I can get.
If you'd like, since technically I'm an elf, I don't think they'd have any problem with me going in. I could find some books for you.
Oh, well, my half hour is certainly coming. Much sooner than later. I'm sure if we check now, I can find the books I want.
Right.
I do have to check with them which books I can take, but usually works of fiction are very rarely scrutinized so heavily as if I were to take out a sacred tome of their god. They would not let that. No one would let that fly. But
who wants the sacred tone of Umberly anyway?
Honestly. And he kind of picks himself up, and you see that he's had a piece of paper in his hand that he's been kind of fumbling with, and he folds it a couple more times, and he puts it in his pocket. Shall we then?
All right.
Yeah.
And you see that there's kind of a single, old for an elf, woman, her hair in a bun, and it's all just kind of gray. She's just sitting with a stack of books, looking on the inside, writing something, closing it, putting it to the side.
All right.
History.
She looks at you. She goes, shh.
Take me to history.
She points in a direction towards the back of the library and narrows her eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start walking my way that way.
I'll look for anything. Since I am technically an elf, I think they probably wouldn't have a problem with me looking for anything magically related.
Her glare kind of moves over to you. It almost immediately lightens up. And there's kind of this look of amazement at you. And she kind of quickly starts thumbing through a book. And then just you hear point at something on the page and just kind of looks a bit aghast at you.
Mm-hmm. I'll just smile and wave, and then I'll just walk over to the, if I can find the magic section.
Okay. Listell's kind of walked a few paces away behind a bookshelf, and when he sees you, he kind of pops his head over and he says, "Magic book section?"
Yeah.
Good. Could I trouble you to get a book or two for me?
I already offered to do that, and I would be happy to continue to extend that offer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nikos. You give this old man life.
Mm-hmm.
And as the two of you begin to quietly, politely, make your way a bit further towards the back of the building, Adella, roll me a perception check.
There's no time for politeness. That is going to be 13.
As you go moving a little bit further towards the back of this library, you can see where the candles are on the wall, where they're lit and they're strong and they're still healthy. It looks like they'd been changed just before everyone kind of went in, and the room is still pretty well lit. The windows around this main area are still open. As you go a bit further in the back where those shutters had been closed, it's getting darker and darker, and the candles on the wall, they seem to have melted down quite a bit more, and no one has come back to change them. You start just looking through these book sections, just kind of through book. What languages do you speak?
Primordial, Common, Druidic, and Sylvan.
You're not finding a lot as the common language you're looking for here is common, but a majority of this, especially as you're in older tomes, are all written in Elven. So as you're looking, you come to a point where you can barely read the spines of the books. But you do notice something. That on a few of the books, where whatever the title is, it looks like a small trident is kind of imprinted on the top of it. Kind of like a publisher's mark. And as you may choose to take those books, you open them, completely unreadable to you.
Mm.
But as you take one or two of them, you do find a book. The trident sits on the top. It says, Jade Reef, Old, New, and Lost Constructions.
Okay.
And as you reach for it, the book is pulled from the other end, as if someone was grabbing the front of it from the back.
I'm gonna go and zip around to the other side.
And you hear, Cass. He pulls the book and goes, "Thank you."
Or, that's the book I need. You can find another.
No response. You want to go zipping around the side?
Yes.
As you go zipping around the side, roll me a perception check.
That's kind of the book I need. Oh, that's not good. It's 7.
As you go running around the side, you see just what looks like a swish, just like a shadow turn and start moving to the right down the library.
Well, I'm gonna fall.
As you go running to the end, Cass goes, "Thank you."
You're not welcome.
And as you turn the corner, that shadow goes behind another one. You hear, "Thank you." Cass seems to be just playing with you. Just with you in your want for this book. Nikos.
Mm-hmm.
As you and Listel are walking through the back ends of this library, moving towards an area that is pretty well lit, you see that there's a younger man. He has like a stack of books. He's carrying at waist level, but it goes up to pretty much the bridge of his nose, and they're leaning back against his face. Looks like he's just trying to return books.
Mm-hmm.
Listel just kind of walks past, and he looks over, and he says, when I had started at the library, I did that a lot. And I will tell you an advantage that a tiefling has over that kid. I have a tail that can do that.
Alright.
And a lot of people forget how useful these things can be. Although buying pants is a nightmare.
I imagine it would be a challenge. I'm gonna let us look for what we came here for. What specifically were you looking for, by the way?
Oh, just something to read.
Something to read?
Alright. I can't imagine they'll have anything in the adventure stories that I have not already read, but I just miss reading. If you have something that you wish to research...
Tribute has no books for him to borrow.
No. Tribute has the one she covets dearly. If you should have any research that needs to be done, I'd be happy to sit and do it with you.
I would value your assistance.
Roll me a perception check.
Alright. Alright. So, I'm up to my elf eyes see. I got an 11.
An 11?
Yeah.
You hear what you are almost certain is, but just, it couldn't possibly be, the sounds of hooves, just like a horse is walking through one of these aisles right by you.
That can't be right.
What?
You didn't hear it?
No.
I'm gonna try and follow the noise.
Okay. Let's do a survival.
Survival. Oh, well, that's based on my duff stat. Oh boy. Oh, that's a 13 though.
As you just kind of follow it, you kind of turn around and peek over the next aisle behind you. You hear it kind of going around the other end, as if it was going to come down the aisle you were just in.
Alright, I'm going to turn around.
Nothing is there. Over the shelf, you can see what is distinctively a pointed, rounded horn.
Alright. I'm just gonna... my heart is just gonna beat loudly in my chest. And Nikos is just kind of panicking now, but he knows the proper protocol.
Right.
So he is going to just kind of move himself into a sort of neutral position, hands out in welcoming, and he is just going to say, in Sylvan, beautiful one, it is all right. I mean you no harm. And then he's going to very politely bow.
As you walk over and you perform this gesture, there's nothing there. Though you see that the hall has in fact changed.
Yeah?
There's a bookshelf to the side of you, but that bookshelf seems to just kind of expand on and on further.
Alright.
And you can hear those distant hooves further down this long tunnel.
Alright. I look behind me for Listel.
Listel is standing there, and behind you see the library.
And I point to the bookshelf in front of me and I say, Stell, do you see this?
Yes. Yes, I think this library may be a lot bigger than we had thought.
I mean, certainly it appears that way. Why don't we go down there a bit? I thought I heard something.
Yes, why don't we?
Alright.
And as you begin to walk down this hall, you see that the bookshelves are actually sprouting twigs growing off, as if the wood they were made from is beginning to rejuvenate and grow life back. Adella, you're following Cass, who has your book, and every time it feels like she's just on your periphery, she ducks behind something, and she says, thank you. And eventually you come to a turn. You see that long hallway, and you see a dark shadow running down. And as you look to the ground, pages of the book have been torn out and ripped to shreds and left on the floor for you.
Let's start picking up book pages and stuff following madly.
You hear in the distance, echoey, thank you, you.
Especially since I would know that at this point, Cass went to the theater. As far as I know, Cass was going to the theater.
Oh.
So this isn't Cass. And I'm aware of this.
And as you go following down, you see that these shelves too begin to be springing back into life. And as the both of you seem to be following the same tunnel, it may be a different time, You see that these vines almost grow to consume the books. And you see the books are beginning to degrade and rot away, almost to feed these shelves. And as the three of you get closer down this tunnel, looking back, it almost seems an infinite distance back. But as you feel a sense of coming towards the end of this hall, you notice that these regrown trees of shelves are dying. They're losing the green. The healthy brown bark begins to peel off. And as you come to a greater end, you see that they've just turned gray. They've begun to collapse into themselves until you're just walking through a bramble of dead green and gray bushes. The three of you are together on this path, and all that can be found at your feet is a mangled, shredded book and a single long golden hair.
Can I do detect magic to see if I can figure out what kind of magic this is?
Yeah, Eldritch Sight.
Okay. The two of you are able to kind of come together and find out that there is no magic. There is no ambient magic around, though the two of you can pick up that this long golden strand is heavy with a celestial magic.
All right, I'm going to gently kneel down, and I am going to pick up the strand very gently, and I am going to say, Estelle, you know what this is, right?
I'm afraid I might.
And I'm going to just gently put it in like a pocket somewhere. I assume a businessman's club will have a pocket or two.
Yes.
And I will look around, and I will say, oh, what? Where else but in the city of elves would you find bridge to the Feywild, if indeed that is where we are?
As everyone looks out into this area, you see what looks like was once a great bountiful forest. You see the barren, dead, gray trunks and the branches that sickly hang off the end of it with no foliage to count. Looking through this once majestic forest, you can just see dirt and an ambient gray mist. If you look up to the sky, it looks like at some point in the day, the sun had been completely consumed by a heavy, dense, gray cloud, which lands this look of almost stillness, of a timelessness in the area you're in now.
Do I recognize this place?
Not instantly, as you would the Feywild, but you can go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
All right. There we are. All right. That is really good. All right. So we're looking at a soft 20.
To the best of the stories you've been told, what lays in the shadow of the Feywild, the Shadowfell.
And so now I assume that the Feywild has just monstrous, horrible stories about the Shadowfell. And Nikos is going to look around with his eyes wide and be like, we should go.
What is told to them, the best way to be told about the Shadowfell is, in the Feywild, it is almost perpetual twilight. Mm-hmm. That means everything casts a shadow. Everything that exists that has a shadow has an end. Its shadow exists in the Shadowfell. It exists on the other end of the Feywild.
And we have just walked from a library straight in there, and I'm just going to turn to Listel and say, okay, I was wrong. This is not really the Feywild. We should be careful. In fact, let's go back.
You turn around and you just see barren forest.
Oh.
I'm not sure that we can. Isn't there some fairy tale with some long golden hair?
Well, not as much as a fairy tale as, well, I've told you before, my patron is a unicorn.
I was not thinking unicorn.
And the long hair is apparently from a unicorn that he found. Is it not?
I heard hooves, and I saw a horn. It's the best of my knowledge I could, and it radiates a celestial energy, so the best of my knowledge, this is a unicorn hair.
If you have If you have that part of your patron, then will that solve your issue? Will you need to focus still with that count?
Would it?
The only definite way would be if you should start casting with it.
All right. So, I am going to... Let me look at my spells. Let me find one that requires an arcane focus.
As Nikos is kind of thumbing through his mind, trying to figure these things out, Listel and Adella, you see where you stand now, it looks like a path that sits on top of a hill. It kind of slides down like a snake to where you can see looks like more of a main path on a road. Around you are these dead trees and what looks like razor vine just kind of slowly creeping and beginning to claim these natural corpses. You can see around you some trees that look like they were tore down and have just been consumed by these razor vines.
Alright, I found a very easy one for me to chess it with. I'm going to cast Light.
Okay.
It requires a material component, so it's not one with any sort of cost to it because it's a cantrip. So I'm going to cast Light, and I'm going to try and I'm going to take out like maybe a little bit of the foot wraps that I had been wearing and try and cast Light on them.
Okay. You grab some of the foot wraps in a ball, and as you focus your magic, the foot wraps light up.
Right.
Though that light doesn't seem to permeate the way it would. Perhaps on the material realm, it's almost like that light has been subdued.
All right.
And as you look to examine it, you turn to see that your fingers have turned gray.
And as I realize this, I'm going to say, okay, we can't stay here very long. Or I can't stay here very long. Anybody else's fingers turning gray?
Listel looks at his and says, no, they're still red. Adella?
I am still water.
Alright. Okay, well, that just makes it worse. That means this is an Eladrin thing. An Eladrin's reaction to the Shadowfell. We should... I can't stay here very long. We need to figure out a way back.
Of course. We should find your... who brought us.
Yeah.
Here. I'm assuming the library just doesn't dump you in the Shadowfell.
I assume so as well.
An illusion of caste is what I was following.
What?
I found a book that was in common that looked like what I was looking for, and Cass just kept saying thank you and running away. But Cass is at the theater, so it's not actually Cass.
Alright, so something is playing with us. If this is an actual unicorn hair, and it works with my magic, so it's quite possible that she is here, my patron. If that is the case, then we need to find her. But I don't know what else might be here.
Yes, because Cass is off seeing some smut.
Right.
Oh, did she get tickets to that play?
Yeah.
Yes.
Her
brother did.
Bless him. Going to see a porno with his sister.
Yeah, let's not bless that, please.
What a weird relationship they have.
Yeah.
He said he was going to try and switch seats with someone else.
Probably for the better.
Yeah.
I was going to pick up tickets for tribute.
I believe she already is going as well.
Well, good. Cass, say thank you.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, okay, I heard that. I definitely heard that.
And you hear, thank you. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Is that what is that other noise? I want to identify the other noise.
Roll a nature check.
Nature. Okay, I'm not proficient in nature, but
if you want to do so too, Adella.
Okay.
Yeah. I have the druid roll a nature check. Are you proficient in that?
I should. Yes, I am. I would say I should be. I am not a druid without nature.
Yeah.
I'm not a city druid.
Not a lousy city stinking druid.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
No. Right. All right.
I don't have a clue what this thing is.
I got a natural one.
Yes. Because I only know aquatic creatures. I don't know things with wings.
That's perfect. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I got a 10.
Yeah. I don't know winged creatures.
As you look around, looking for that voice, it sounds like the voice is taking you down that path.
Okay, so this is obviously a trap.
Can I just ice knife it?
Well, I mean, let's wait and see what it is.
But there's no tribute to yell at me.
Oh
no, but I mean, if it turns out, Well, that was definitely the sound of wings, though, right?
Yes.
It was the sound of
Though
wings.
you couldn't tell what kind of wings or what those wings might have belonged to.
All right, so it's a flying thing, and don't know what kind of wings it is, but what those might have belonged to. You know, let's just figure out what it is and what it wants before we go ice knifing it, and then if it turns out it's really, really bad, we can go ice knife it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't get the ice knife much anymore.
I'm sure you'll find good use of it soon.
Yeah.
Perhaps here in the terrible place. As the three of you begin to make your way down the path, the voice just seems to just kind of bounce from tree to tree. Thank you, thank you, thank
God,
you,
that's annoying.
thank you. And you eventually wind up down on this main road. And as you look to your left, the road just kind of snakes on into the distance. And as you look to the right, you see that there's an old, haggard cart. And from what you can see in the back, one large wooden wheel with cracks and chunks missing out of it. And on the other side, a smaller wooden wheel. So the whole cart is cracked over to the side, and you just hear it. And then when you look on the back, you see that there is a small black bird perched on the back, about 40 feet away. And it looks to you and goes, "Thank you."
Okay, now you can ice knife it.
Yeah. Gladly.
I think it's 11. Your wisdom modifier is +3, right?
+3, yeah.
Yeah, so that
So
would...
11.
Yeah.
You throw the knife this distance down the road. What is the max distance on ice knife?
60 feet.
60 feet, all right. When it comes flying, the bird quickly picks up and begins to grab altitude, and as it flies back, the knife explodes, just landing on the ground. But the cart stops. Now about 50 feet away, you see that a very long, tall, gray-skinned elf kind of walks to the back and very silently just kind of looks at the three of you. You see the clothes he's wearing are very mismatched. The jacket he's wearing kind of looks like a farmer's jacket, but on the inside you can see that there are shining diamonds under his that he's using his buttons. A small black coat with kind of a red tuck in the front, being held under this dirty farmer's jacket, and these long kind of open-robed pants. Very long and flowy. There's really nothing holding tight to the legs. This is something very common in human fashion. He just kind of moves around to the back and he sees all of you, and he just very carefully puts his hand on what looks like a cutlass to his side, and he calls out in common, "Travelers, do you mean me harm?"
No, just the annoying bird.
What bird do you speak of?
Did it fly well already?
Yes.
All right. Well, it was here and then it was gone. It said thank you a lot.
Very annoying.
Come closer, travelers. It is not safe to have such conversations, such volumes.
Okay. Gonna come closer, I guess.
Yeah.
Listel follows behind you. The man has his... When you come close enough, he says, "You are not native to this land.
What gave that away?
You are still intact."
Oh, mostly, and I hold up my fingers.
He kind of lets go of the palm of his sword, and he kind of extends his hand to kind of... He means to kind of grab your hand to observe it better.
I'll let him.
And when he does, it just... when he grabs your hand, it just feels like bone. Like he's just grabbing your hand with a bony skeletal hand.
Oh.
You see that his nails are black and long.
Oh, boy.
When you're looking at him, you see the gray skin, but it's not like the gray skin of a drow. It's gray, and you can see purple veins are running through his arms. He either looks to be very old or deeply poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
The eyes themselves are of a dark midnight blue, and through gray hair runs purple streaks. Just thin strands, as if it might have been his original color, but it's been lost since. He says, "Soon, you will be a native."
We don't plan to stay long enough for that to happen.
Certainly, if you could find a way out, you wouldn't. But very few leave.
Have you heard any strange calls?
Constantly. Hear voices and calls all of the time.
Okay,
Stay here enough, so shall you.
I mean, have you ever heard footsteps? Like, recently, like, within, like, maybe the last half an hour?
No. I've heard the call of children. I've heard the cry of women. I've seen this barren forest. Where are you heading, travelers? It's dangerous on these roads.
We're heading to wherever we can get back.
We're looking for a way home. Ambitious, but a fool's errand. Perhaps you should come with me. I'm going to Eldith's Rest. They say great magic resides there. Something that can help quiet the voices.
Oh? I guess we don't really have a way to go around.
Much choice, yeah.
No. Don't really have a way to go around here.
Well, advice then. You may find this world and its inhabitants, as myself, off-putting, perhaps frightening. But I survived thanks to the generosity of other travelers. I did not believe Eldith's Rest was my last hope. I would not make this journey myself. I would be happy to provide transportation for the three of you if you were to provide safety for me.
Can do that.
I would be happy to let you ride in my cart. Walking is exhausting, but fighting is more. I shall call you when I need you, and you need only fight when I call.
Alright.
Listel is the man, kind of turns and starts walking back towards the cart. Listel looks to you guys and he says, "Do you think it's best to trust him?"
I don't know if we really...
Have we come across anyone else?
I mean, okay, I'll have Nikos do an insight check. That's another thing he's proficient in. Oh. Okay, but I rolled a natural 18, so it's either a 17 or a 22.
Looking back on the conversation, the entire thing seems shifty. You can't recognize what kind of elf this creature is. There's just been an overall feeling that you've been being led into a trap. And you feel like there's something he's holding back from you.
Alright,
What did you mean, generosity of travelers?
He stops, and he turns back and he says, "Generosity of travelers. I don't fight. I never could. Those who will fight for me help me to travel. More often than not, they tend to die."
Alright. So you are taking us to certain death.
Yes. But you can die on the road, tired and exhausted, slowly going mad like me. Or you can at least ride in comfort and die in battle. She would want.
Wait a minute, she?
Who?
The Raven Queen. She watches us here.
Alright.
Looking for her prize. Something worth taking. If you are alone, and if you are tired, she will take that prize. But if you are ready and you are rested, you fend her off. I offer you travel and rest. And I offer you no more danger than I put myself in.
Right then. Alright,
Did that end up being a 17 or a 22?
17.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright then. I guess then we really don't have much of a choice. This place holds an ability to stave off the voices, and maybe we can find information on how to get home there.
Yes. An oasis for us all.
Get in. The journey is long, and I don't know how long it will take. There's food inside.
Right.
So, who gets in the cart? Who wants to walk along the side?
I'll get in the cart, I guess.
Yeah.
Cart.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikos, your friend.
Yes.
I believe you're going to be making a check, so if you want to roll it, and I'll tell you the correct modifier to add.
Yeah. Ooh. That's a natural 4.
As you go walking up to the side of the cart, this man has taken to the front of it, where he seems to be kind of brushing, like running his hand over something that you can't see. Whatever beast of burden is pulling this cart. And as you go to open the door, you swing the cart open. You see something immediately terrifying. Large white and yellow teeth and purple gums. They open up and a massive tongue lashes out and wraps around you. And it begins to pull you into the cart, and the teeth start looking to start chewing the moment you get close enough.
Alright.
Roll initiative.
Alright.
So as it would go, the tongue reaches out, grabs you, and this loud noise comes out, and the man on the front starts laughing. Food and survive. Travelers help you survive. He quickly turns around and pulls out his cutlass. He's going to run forward, and he's going to try and make an attack on you, Adella. That is going to miss. That is a 6-hit base. He runs forward, and he swipes with this old, jagged, broken sword, and you're able to just quickly pull back. Nikos and the Mimic, you rolled the same initiative.
Alright.
So this thing, with its action, is going to try and pull you forward and bite you. So as you're being pulled forward, and the teeth open up to bite you, what do?
I cast Thunderwave.
So here's what's going to happen. It is going to drop you, and if the damage is high enough, it'll tip over.
Alright, so here we are.
So first it has to make the check. Go ahead and give me your check first. That it'll have to beat.
Yeah. Woo! There we go. 15.
It fails.
Sweet.
As it goes to pull you in, go ahead and roll damage. As it goes to pull you in, it opens its mouth. Is this a bard spell or is this your warlock spell?
This is a bard spell, but it does not require material.
Okay, make sure you tell me whenever you cast warlock spells.
Alright.
It goes to open its mouth, and as it comes to bite down, you just quickly let out your newfound metal death scream. Yeah! And the teeth just vibrate, and you see a chunk of them burst off into its mouth.
That was 2d8 thunder damage, and I rolled 2 7s.
2 7s? Okay, that is going to be enough that as it blows out, the tongue unwraps, and you drop to your feet, and the entire cart, as you're kind of on the side of the big wheel, the smaller, it begins to tip back. I'm going to give this thing a dexterity saving throw. It'll be a high check, as this is fairly immobile. That's reasonable. It's gonna be able to pull itself back down. That is going to go to Lestel. Seeing this, he is going to move back like 30 feet. Move back 30 feet, and he is going to try and drop a witch bolt on this large mimic. It is going to miss, and it is going to explode against a tree. So that is going to go to Adele at the bottom of the order. You are engaged with this large, strange, gray elf.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ice knifing him.
This is going to be a ranged attack. He's within 5 feet, so it'll be disadvantage.
Fine, I'll try him.
Okay.
That will be a 14.
That is going to hit.
Okay.
You pull back the trident, and you just tear through what little bit of armor he has.
That's going to be 6.
6. And when you rip it out, you see that a deep red blood pours out, and as soon as it hits the ground, it begins to turn dark red and congeal. That is going to go back up to the guard. He is going to try and grapple you.
So that he's going to try to grapple you, Adella.
Oh, he's
So
grappling me.
that is going to
Okay.
be an athletics or acrobatics check, whichever you care for.
16.
You barely beat that. That was a 15 against you. He lunges forward and he tries to just wrap his long, gangly arms around you. But as he does, you just kind of duck down. That is going to end his turn. That is going to go to the Mimic, and it is going to go to Nikos.
All right.
The Mimic is going to lash its tongue out, and it is going to try and grab Adella.
I'm going to hex it for strength.
No. It is going to try and grab Listel. All right.
That's my bonus action.
Its action is going to be that massive tongue lashes out the 30 feet, and it goes to wrap around Listel. And as it seems to just about to constrict onto him, as you just run your hands over it, it looks like the orange leaves just kind of appear, irritate the tongue until it just falters, and Listel is barely able to slide out from underneath.
Standard action, Eldritch Blast.
You're within 5 feet, it will be disadvantage.
Fair enough. Disadvantage, Eldritch Blast. That is fine. Alright, so that's okay, but that's a natural 1.
All right. You push your hand forward, and as your eyes glow, the spell just kind of fizzles in your hand. A natural 1. It is going to use its reaction to fire a pseudopod at you.
Alright.
That is a 4 at base. It'll miss.
Mm-hmm.
Listel is going to... He's going to try and use Chill Touch. As you see kind of that magical hand extend, it becomes skeletal as it tries to wrap around.
1d8 cold damage, and you cannot... or is it necrotic?
Necrotic.
Yeah, necrotic, and you cannot regain hit points.
That is going to go down to Adella.
Mm-hmm.
You have just escaped this grapple.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stab him again.
He's proved to be a very stabbable figure.
He's annoying. I don't have time for annoyances today. 19.
That'll hit. Roll damage.
Another 6.
Another 6. When you jam it into him this time, you gotta put your foot up and kick him off of it. He stumbles back almost down to one knee. He is desperately hurt, and you see that this wound that you just keep inflicting on his chest, it seems to just be filling with necrotic and almost rotting as soon as you pull the trident back. That is going to go back up to him. He's going to disengage from you. No. He's just gonna move. So you get an attack of opportunity.
That'd be 16, actually.
That'll hit.
Okay. I get 2.
Okay. This gamble pays off. He is going to run around to the front of the cart, and you see him quickly beginning to pull things off. And as you do, you see that he mounts what looks like a skeletal horse. And it kind of turns to face you. That is going to go to the Mimic and Nikos.
My bonus action is to teleport 30 feet back using Fade Step and attack this thing with Eldritch Blast as my standard. I'm maintaining concentration on Hex, so I will get that extra little bit of...
So here's what's going to happen. The Mimic is just going to lean forward and bite you.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is that, because you're teleporting out, I'm going to give him disadvantage on this attack.
Mm-hmm.
As he's trying to bite what is essentially a dissipating creature.
Yeah.
Miss. Another 4.
Alright.
Go ahead and make your attack.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So, 16.
That'll hit.
And then... Alright, so we're looking at a D10 plus Charisma Force damage and a D6 Necrotic because I have Hex on it. That is great. Okay, so we're looking at 10 Force damage and 6 Necrotic damage.
Holy crap. That is going to drop down to Listel. He is going to move 60 feet. It looks like he's running towards Adella, which comes down to you, Adella.
Listella's?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This guy and his horse are how far away from me?
Probably about 15 feet.
How close is this Listella to me?
If you don't move, he'll catch up to where you're at. He's running, but he's kind of old and out of breath. It looks like he's trying to tell you something, but it doesn't look like he can really get it out.
Okay. I am ice knifing the guy and his horse. That's gonna be over 20.
Oh, well, that'll hit. Over 20 will hit.
Yeah.
Who are you aiming at? Either the...
the guy.
The guy? Okay.
Yeah, I have no patience for him. He's annoying me. It's only gonna be 3.
Plus your strength.
That's 4. But he also has to make a
yes.
dex saving throw.
He is mounted.
Okay.
I'm going to say that if the horse makes it, he makes it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the target and each creature within 5 feet.
Right, so I'm just going to condense him here.
Okay.
What is the save?
15.
15? This could be close. This is a 13 at base. 14.
Okay.
Failed by 1.
He takes 2d6 cold.
I believe a skeletal horse has a 1 dexterity.
So that's going to be another 7.
Okay. You throw this ice knife, and as he begins to move the horse forward, the knife just right into his chest. And with his quick reaction, he tries to grab it, and as he pulls it back, it's just perfect money shot. Explodes against him and the horse. This kills him, wounding the horse for certain. All right, he falls off the back of the horse, dropping down to the ground, and the horse just kind of rears back. You don't know what it's going to do until right now, when the horse just begins to kick around and buck. It seems to be frightened and unsure of what it's doing, so it is just going to make a quick intelligence check, and you're not going to believe this. It doesn't have good intelligence. Soft 1.
Soft 1.
A soft 1. It is going to make a kick attack with its soft 1. It is going to make a kick attack against the mimic and fail. It's just kind of furiously running around. Mimic and Nikos.
All right. I am, once again, Eldritch blasting this thing.
Okay. The mimic is going to be moving up just 5 feet, just kind of slowly creaking forward, so it can have a line on both Listel and Adella.
All right. And remember, it has this disadvantage on strength checks.
Very good to know. Adella, go ahead and give me an athletics or acrobatics. Jeez.
14.
7. The tongue lashes out, but you're able to just stab away at the tongue with your trident, forcing it to reel back. Would you roll to hit?
12.
12. Hits. Beats.
Yo. Sweet. Thank you for efficiency die. I keep rolling 7s on this die. That's another 10 force damage and 2 necrotic.
12?
Yeah.
This time when it slams against, you see that this cart aesthetic is beginning to fall away. Instead of where you'd expect wood paneling to chip off, it just begins to kind of shake and then form back. And all that you see now is this thing is just writhing, and a purple blood is beginning to pour out and congealing and rotting to the ground. Is just this large, fleshy, veiny mass that's sitting on 2 axles that it seems to be able to move. This just seems to be a tumor with teeth and a massive tongue, and it's just squealing in pain. That is going to go to Estelle, who's going to actually move to the side of the skeletal horse, and he's going to open the book, thumb through it, his eyes will glow white, and he'll turn and open the pages, like page open to the skeletal horse, and a cone of flame is going to burst out. Horse is going to save, and the mimic is going to fail. Burning hands. The mimic itself lets out a horrifying howl as it just stretches its last bit of life out. Seeing it, you don't get the...
I can use my reaction to switch my hex from the dead mimic to the horse.
Okay. You get the idea that the horse only looks like it's defending itself, If it's your will to kill it, you can. Adella, it's your turn.
Can I try and do an animal handling to try and maybe calm the horse down?
Yes. You will do this at disadvantage as it's taken a significant amount of damage.
Yeah.
9.
9, yeah.
You're trying to calm it to the best of your ability, but you can't seem to get it to stop. It reacts to you, it sees you, but there's still a panic in it that it won't seem to let go. Right? That is going to go to the horse. It is going to turn around and it is going to try and give you a kick. I was rolling to see if it would calm down enough. It won't. That is going to be an 18 to hit.
Okay.
You are going to take the form of 9 points of damage as this thing rears back and slams into you, kicking you into this charred, mushy body of the mimic. Nikos.
All right. Yeah, I am going to try and Eldritch Blast this thing. 12?
12 against the big spooky horse.
Yeah.
We'll hit.
All right.
Big spooked horse.
Spooked and spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Too much spoop.
Too much spoop. The skeleton puts his trumpet down.
All right. Okay, so that's 13 force damage and 5 necrotic, which it probably is resistant or even immune to.
You extend your hand and that force comes out and just blows the bones away.
All right.
Just they fall to the ground like sticks.
All right. Well then, I guess we keep going down the road.
You hear that flapping again, but this time you hear it in mass. And as you look around where it was just this heavy overcast, this no shadows cast here, a dark shadow comes over you. Mm-hmm. And as you look around, the sky is blotted out with what looks like a writhing black mass. And it begins to descend upon where you're at. And you can hear the caws of ravens latch on to this oversized mimic. And you can hear the sound of the ravens pulling its skin apart, feeding on it.
All right.
Perhaps there's something to the Raven Queen thing he was talking about.
I guess so. Adella, are you still on the mimic? You fell back onto it.
You would have gotten off.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. The body that was there, you look over and you see it just kind of vibrating with this black mass of ravens now, too.
Oh, great. An unkindness of ravens. That was the word I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The road you have ahead of you, the way he was going, he said that he was going towards a place called Eldith Rest.
Mm-hmm.
He at least knew of a destination. I think it might be better to head there than wander, where we might be next for these birds.
Perhaps.
Sounds like a good plan to me. I look at my hand.
You look at your hand. It has crawled all the way up your arm to your shoulder now. It is the same gray as this man was.
That's just wonderful.
Listel's kind of looking at your arm, and he just looks to you and says, "We're getting out of here as soon as possible."
Let's just make sure that happens. We're looking... Wait, was it specifically spells that required the components, not necessarily spells that would be warlock spells?
If they're warlock spells.
If they're warlock spells. Well,
yes.
Eldritch Blast and Hex were both warlock spells.
Perhaps that you have the hair of your anti-patron.
The anti-patron?
The anti-unicorn.
Yes.
The anti-unicorn.
Who walks around giving bad presents to good kids. Or good presents to bad kids. As you find a small alcove where the road gives away to the side and what little bit of comfort these dead trees can provide, you're able to sit, perhaps if you care to make a fire, to dress some of your supplies, eat a little bit. You take the hour, but as you're just sitting and Adella is beginning to freeze over some of the wounds as she is wont to do to heal herself. As those patches of ice turn back into water on your body, they heal. There's an undeniable sense that something's always just over your shoulder, that something's just breathing down the back of your neck. There's a single hot breath and an internal sense of movement behind you. But anytime you turn to look, it seems to disappear as if it were never there.
Right.
And this entire hour is just beset with this. Give me madness checks.
Oh boy. Constitution plus wisdom, right?
Correct.
Hey, now 20.
Alright.
All right, Adella.
So I had a 1 and a 20 today.
Your entire time sitting here trying to focus on something to get it out of your mind, you're able to find a bit of peace.
I'm more annoyed with things I can hear than things I can't.
Adella more annoyed that she doesn't find her center, her place of peace and understanding, her quiet place. She finds the place where she's the most annoyed. And this builds a mental barrier to keep out these creeping madness.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's perhaps a constant worry that is on Nikos' mind as he just sits there and looks at his arm.
Yeah, probably.
Which I think is a fine point you make. Make that check with disadvantage.
10. Not that time.
Not that time. Nikos.
Yeah.
Roll for me a D100.
D100! Woo! My favorite dice. But not in this game, because the D100 always means something.
But not at the end of a madness check. That's bad.
No. That's a 12.
Now roll a D10.
Alright. 9.
Oof. So for the next 90 hours, you are going to experience vivid hallucinations.
Oh boy!
You have disability on ability checks.
Disadvantage on ability checks.
90 hours.
For 90
This
hours.
will last even out when we're out of here.
As you look down at your arm, it's fine. Your arm is healed.
Oh, it's good.
And when you do that, the rest of your body is gray.
Ah!
Lestel, look over and... What?
I look at my body again.
Oh yeah, you're all gray. There's just a little bit of flesh on the arm where it was previously seemed to be infected.
It's gone. I'm gray again. I'm all gray. We're too late. We're too late. Ah!
Lestel looks over to Adella, very concerned. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. He's not gray.
No.
You're not gray.
What?
You're not gray.
I am gray.
You're not.
No.
Oh.
Trust me, friend.
Just part of you.
Your arm is turning gray, I won't lie.
The rest of you's not.
Lestel is going to stand up, and he's going to kind of pick you up by the arm and take one arm over his shoulder, and let's keep going.
All right.
The waters ahead can fix this.
All right.
A time you don't completely know how long this takes. You're just eventually in a gray grass field with nothing but death and seemingly eternity around you. But you eventually hear in the distance the sound of water. And as you look to the distance, you see this hill that goes up a little bit, and you can just barely see it. Looks like it drops down into some sort of crater. You're able to walk with some small confidence, but as you look forward, you see, for just a moment, that both Lestel and Adella have turned gray. And as they turn back to look, you see that they've grown great white teeth that shine with blood. But then you blink hard, and they never turned, and they were never gray.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you have any questions or want to talk about your favorite part of the campaign so far, you can find us on Twitter at Quips and Crits or at Quips and Crits on Facebook. And make sure you rate and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. But check out our Tumblr or Reddit for character profiles, maps, essays, and just a bunch of other shit from the... Ooh, I swore. And a bunch of other stuff from the cast. Today's music is brought to you by Leon Lischner and friends, and Dennis Murphy's Polka. Links in description.
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside.